Hello, people of New World. Welcome back to the channel. It's me, Lamani. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about alt characters or alternate characters. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a character on another server that allows you to play with other gamers across the world, join other companies so that you can get into more wars for practice or just have, a little bit of a fresh start. This is also applicative to a fresh start server. So you'll see I'm not on my normal character and we have a lot of expertise and new sort of character things to go through. So what we're going to talk through is how do you get your character to be equivalent to your main and get them caught up to speed the most effectively, efficiently, and quickly. Now, before we get into that, let's dive into something else that might help you along your journey. All right, so playing a second character, it's a little bit of a grind, right? You might need a little bit of a boost when you're doing something like this. And for me, so I have stuff like Madrina's. You can see down in the description below. You can use my code, go for a quick 20% off, but Madrina's coffee is fantastic. So my favorite thing is any of the whole bean blends. I take my little coffee grinder I got here, need to get a different one, but I can take this camping. I can go out there, do all kinds of fun stuff, grind up a nice bag, and it is the most incredible coffee I have ever tasted in my life. And maybe you're somebody who doesn't even like coffee, or maybe you need a little bit of a pre-workout boost. Well, this is what they have. They have this green coffee. This is coffee. It's not roasted beans, but it's fruity flavored, and it is fantastic. Again, great source of caffeine. It's nice, clean, great energy, and I love it. I use it before my workouts, and it's just a nice alternative to drinking a cup of coffee sometimes. Regardless, Madrina's is fantastic. Hit the link down below, use my code, get that discount, and please let me know if you enjoy it. The very first thing you need to do in an alternate character to get them equivalent to your main is finish the main story quest. It doesn't matter if you've leveled this person up through town boards, you haven't touched them, you've only done trade skills, doesn't matter what level you are, you have to get through the main story quest so that we can get our Heartrune. And then we'll talk about Brimstone later, but couple things with the main story quest, especially if you're on a fresh character where you don't have a lot of gold or anything else going on. One of the best things you can do is level weapons like the life staff, musket, bow, things like that that might be a little bit more difficult just to AoE level by grouping up clumps of mobs and then killing them once you've hit 60. Personally, any healer leveling up, doesn't matter if you've already out-leveled the content you're doing or if you're just following along normally in the MSQ, level up your weapons because this is a huge opportunity. You're going through killing tons of stuff anyway, so you might as well not use a weapon you already have at 20. The next thing you have to do, especially if you do not have a source of income, is while you're following the MSQ, look a little bit out of the beaten path and pick up all crafting materials possible, and you are going to want to sell everything. While you're doing this, you're going to pick up a lot of different craft mods, cooking mods. You're going to see different resources like iron ore. You're going to be leveling up your trade skills like that. I wouldn't say it's worthwhile to just sit there and hit trees and rocks. You can if you want just free income. It's going to not be really cost effective or time efficient, but everything you are getting from following the main story, you have the potential to get drops of things that are worth thousands and thousands and thousands of gold that you might not really think of. And when you're starting up on a fresh alternate character and you don't have the gold from your main, this is going to be crucial when we get to the point of things like gear score and getting your Gypsum and really getting your character online to hit those 600 gear score pieces. So in all, go hit that iron ore you see. Don't walk past the random, squash that's sitting there or potatoes. That's all free money in your pocket and people will pay a lot more than you think they would, especially all the little chests that are around that you might avoid when you're doing a chest run. Pick up absolutely everything and spend that little bit of extra time because it's going to pay dividends at the end game. Now, some of you may really enjoy trade skills. While I personally just don't really focus on it until I hit 60, you can certainly start to level those up as you're going through. Maybe, you're just pretty much on pace with the main story quest. You get a ton of XP if you start just diving into all of your trade skills, especially if you're a fresh lower level, you have access to some gold because you found some good items. If you were to max out your cooking, I actually personally leveled up a character from like 5 to 30 simply just by cooking hearty meals in the past. It does stop once you've maxed out, but you do need a skill at least like cooking as soon as you've hit 60 to be maxed out so that you have access to your emerald gypsum. So with trade skills, it's a toss-up. I think there's a lot of advantages, and it's something else I'm going to talk about as well for cash flow so that you have a source of income when it comes to doing things like your tanning, your weaving, and your smelting, because these are going to be what really drives your character forward. Personally, I think doing cooking and saving some of those materials might be worthwhile in my opinion, but I would just start selling things as you're going through and focus on doing these once you've actually hit 60 because you shouldn't have any concerns with getting your XP. The only thing if you were to do this and get XP faster is it might make things a little bit easier since you'll outlevel the content. If you truly want to grind through the main story quest the fastest, you can completely skip the side quests. Up to you, you can do it for a little bit of extra gold, extra XP to keep pace, and if you would like to, go to your respective faction person, grab those quests, and see which ones are going to be around your main story quest. Prioritize your main story, but if you want to get some faction XP so that you can quickly level up, for instance, your Covenant vendors so you can get more Gypsum Orbs, continue to do those. Otherwise, you'll be perfectly fine if you start skipping side quests, and you should be keeping good pace. All right, so you've hit 60, you've gone through, sold all your stuff to continue amassing gold. You want to keep doing quests so you keep getting as much gold as possible because it's going to be beneficial in the long run. So what is our next step? It is unlocking Brimstone and then going for your Heartrune. So to unlock Brimstone, you're going to end up having a main story quest that pops up in Scale Reach. You'll pick up that quest, they'll ask you to grab some materials, and you need to consume this drink before you step foot in here, otherwise you will die. So the reason it's important to finish the main story quest before heading out to Brimstone and doing those quests is because if you haven't done the main story quest up through Eden Grove, you'll be stuck at this camp right here with no main story quest to follow. It'll tell you a main story quest to at least unlock the tea, the drink, to get into Brimstone, which is crucial if you end up hitting 60 before actually doing the main story quest. If you do hit 60 before doing the main story quest, get into Brimstone and run over to here, unlock the capital city. Also, you will want to hit this fast travel point, this fast travel point, most likely this one, but as long as you have the main city, it's important, and you'll want to hit this fast travel point. Nonetheless, even if you've done the MSQ, you're now here following it so you can continue to get your Heartrune quest, you need those fast travel points. The reason why is for these puppies, your Gypsum Orbs. They're going to be crucial for increasing your expertise, or if you want to just start holding them and gradually get your expertise up so that you have access to a ton of shards once you have maxed out a piece to 600. So we'll be getting there, and we want to do some chest runs. And I'm going to break everything down, but it is these orbs, and these orbs are the big reason why we're making sure we have gold so that we have another way to also increase our overall expertise. So let's dive into a little bit at once you've hit 60, main story quest, what should you be doing? Okay, so immediately after you've hit 60, you'll gain access to the Gypsum Kiln. But the very, very, very most important thing to do is not only do your daily gypsum things, and we'll highlight that, but using infused orbs. If you are somebody who's lazy and simply wants to just passively do this over time because you're not really concerned about the character, this is going to be your go-to option. You can make 5 gypsum orbs a day just from materials you can buy using each of the infused fragments. So 2 arcane, 6 armor, 4 engineering, 2 jewelry, and 4 weapon. If you don't have any money, simply just go out there, hit some rocks, grab some random stuff to get enough. It's not very expensive, but this is a lot of free expertise bump. So you're going to want to do this every day at least. Ideally, what you should do first is make 5 of these and do 1 for each armor slot, and then you can use at least 5 to do all of a second one of each armor slot, then focus on earring, amulet, ring, and then your 2 main weapons that you're going to be looking for. Primarily whatever your main weapon is for the build. So for instance, if you're a healer, doing life staff first, then doing rapier later on the back end because it's not as important. So to start off, once you've hit 60, this is where you're going to want to start to do your expertise grind. You follow the main story quest, but you are also looking for chest runs in only the Brimstone zones to start. When starting your chest runs, go get your Topaz Gypsum Potion every single day. It's super cheap to craft if you just use the Soul Worm tongues, and then you run over to an Arcana station. In that same breath, you should probably just get your Emerald Gypsum done as well, purchase some T5 mats and then some other cooking ingredients, and go cook 130 hearty meals so that you can get your Emerald Gypsum. You can then also get aptitude containers that will give you a little bit of supplemental income, especially if you were to get a chef pattern or something like that to sell for a few thousand gold. Then with those shrines that you got previously all throughout Brimstone, you are going to want to do wall, beds, cast, and helio so that you can get your Topaz Gypsum, your Diamond Gypsum from the Juniper Berry bags, and your Obsidian Gypsum. Just make sure you join a group. Quite honestly, I can get all of my Obsidian and Topazes in a decent group just doing Helio, but this will also give you the opportunity to get things like Golden Scarabs for some extra gold, Timeless Shards, Umbral Shards, random consumables and mats that you can sell, all sorts of things like that. But the biggest thing is just getting some free aptitude levels, and then on top of that, we now get some additional Gypsum to boost those a little bit higher. So depending on how confident you are then, you could queue for 2 outpost rushes and 2 arenas. Now I will say it's probably better to queue for 2 outpost rushes because you will get expertise from the containers you get from Outpost Rush. These, not only do they have pretty significant gear drops, you get Umbral Shards, gold, you'll get some of your faction tokens, but you'll also get PvP track XP so that you can start to get some additional items there, or even gold options, Umbral Shards, random things like that. But the biggest thing is that these Outpost Rush containers have a very high chance to give you additional expertise bumps. So not only are you getting your Ruby Gypsum, you now have the potential for all these pieces coming from a chest to give you some additional expertise. Will you perform the best? Absolutely not. But you could probably perform pretty decently, get your drop, and you're good to go. Same thing is true for arenas. You can get 2 Citrine real quick if you were to win back-to-back, if you have some friends maybe on the server, but otherwise just grind through a couple of these. It's PvP XP nonetheless. Okay, so let's say you finished all of your daily things to just get your easy expertise bumps, and you're really now looking to just grind it out and focus on what you can do. Some people recommend killing random mobs, sitting there farming a boss, but personally, the best thing you can do is just find Genesis groups. There's always people going because people are looking for expertise, or maybe you're in a company that's got some extra people or some friends, and you are going to just spam run gen. It's faster than Laz. You'll get just as many drops, if not more. And it's very easy to walk over here in Eden Grove and get to this outpost, Valor Hold, talk to this fella right here, and you're going to be looking for Genesis quests. Now, the thing that's great for this is because you probably haven't really pushed this all the way to get your Covenant up, your faction up, you can use this to now get extra XP, get extra gold. If I were to complete this, I'd get like 300 gold, I'd get some tokens, I'd get a, territory standing random things. But then the biggest reason is because we need tokens so that we can purchase our additional 2 Gypsum Orbs. Once you've hit the final rank, you can get some free Gypsum Orbs. Okay, so to perfectly optimize your Genesis runs, you're going to want to run over here, pick up whatever quests are available. If there's none, you'll cancel them. Whatever's there, you'll go run gen. If you don't have time and you don't get any, bad luck, that sucks. You'll go finish it up. You'll get a ton of drops. You'll get some extra gold, things like that from boss kills, timeless shards, whatever. Teleport back, check for quests, rinse and repeat. This is going to be your Gypsum Orb source and gold, and the best way to just efficiently grind out those expertise and gear score. So now what are some alternatives to really also maximizing your speed and efficiency of getting expertise drops? Let's say you have infinite gold. You have somebody who can supply you, give you mats, whatever you need. If you were to really do this the fastest, the best thing to do is to pick up these patterns. These are from the winter event, which is sadly over now, so you have to buy them. But think about your slot and what would be the cheapest or most inexpensive version of that piece to get gear score increases. For instance, if I were to be focusing on my pants, I'd be looking for medium pairs of pants because that is going into pretty much no light, medium, or heavy build. So think about it that way. What is going to be most cost effective? You can then buy these patterns, and when you craft these, you don't have to have any skill in armoring, but you can then go over to an armoring station, craft these pants. They will drop at 600 and they will give you a free expertise bump. This will get very expensive because you do have to use all of the legendary daily cooldown materials as well as spend the gold to do this. But if you really wanted to just get a character there, you had a company that's going to give you a bunch of money to do it, you can go ahead, craft all these patterns up and get to max a lot faster. Now, one other pro tip that you can do, if you do end up maxing out a weapon, you will gain access to the legendary quest lines for them. For instance, here is the one for Twilight's Fall, and then here's the one for a spear. You can do these, and when you do these now, and if you didn't know, you get a ton of Gypsum Orbs. You'll get like 12 for finishing the whole quest line. Is it a little bit long? Yes, but then again, you have random chances for drops and things that you're doing, but it's again, free Gypsum Orbs, especially for once you've unlocked your Heartrune and need to get that upgraded. Also, if you haven't done side quests out in Brimstone Sands or over in Reekwater or even some up in Shattered Mountains, you will be able to get Gypsum Orbs simply from doing the side quests. So you can do that if you have a little bit of extra time and you want to be able to craft a Gypsum Orb for every single important slot. So head, chest, gloves, pants, boots, earring, ring, amulet, and then your 2 weapons. That in total is going to calculate to 10 orbs a day you would need. If you end up going around and doing all the side quests and things like that, that should give you enough to always be making that. And in total, you could hit 15 Gypsum Orbs if you count the infused ones just for free on top of your other bumps if you're really maximizing things. Also, another option, and again, it's just tough to show this on my other characters, some on my main, but you could be doing arenas. You could pick up some of these materials or even buy them or have somebody craft these. If you were to do an arena, you will get a guaranteed expertise bump every single time. I don't think this is the most efficient way because you have to go through, kill the boss. It could be efficient because you could get 2 extra orbs a day, but you don't really need to do that and then get that bump. I think it is much more cost effective, time efficient to just sit there and spam Genesis. Although boring sometimes, you can do this a lot faster than you'd actually think. The only other big concern when you have a new character is weapon leveling. Again, you can get a lot of this done just from simply doing quests like the Brimstone quest line or through the main story quest line. But once you get to 60 and you have a bunch of weapons that you want leveled, or even more difficult ones like the life staff, you're gonna have to find a spot to grind XP. Personally, my go-to weapon grinding spot, it's a short on the channel. It's up on the northern side of Brightwood or southern Great Cleave, but the big thing is that you kill the wave of the corrupted enemies as efficiently in a group if possible, and then hit Thorpe. The other ones don't really matter. Those are your big 2 XP things. You could just sit there and AFK and kill Thorpe over and over and over again. So great, your character's level 60. Outside of expertise and grinding all that stuff, what is your other priority? Personally, daily cooldowns. Having your refining trade skills for weaving, smelting, and tanning is crucial. To craft your Phoenix, even if you don't have any of the gear, you can buy some of the gear really cheap for some of it, but even if you don't have any of the gear, these, if you just craft them every day, especially if you have the first light bonus to potentially get those bonus procs, this is going to be a revenue stream for you. Doesn't matter what you put into it, it will always result in increased amount of coin. You will have something that is gradually giving you money over time that you can craft every day. You could just craft them and sell them, or even just sell your cooldowns so you don't have to bother to buy the mats. But this is the thing that's going to start fueling your ability to buy things like the infused fragments that you can actually make those orbs. Because yeah, they're pricey, but again, you could just go do something else and get that money. But this also allows you to start stacking these if you were to start wanting people to craft you gear once you've hit 600. Nonetheless, having weaving, tanning, and smelting is extremely important. And if you just do it and max out that level, as long as you have a little bit of gold, you farmed up a little bit of money, or maybe you got lucky on some chest runs and sold some materials, you will have an ability to craft everything. And let's say you do something like infused silk. You end up with, you go through your linen, sateen, silk, infused silk. You're pretty much cutting your losses even at the point where you get to the end because you craft enough infused silk that you can sell it back to essentially just get that coin back. You might lose a couple thousand or maybe 2, 3, 4,000 gold, but it should be relatively close to the point where it's minimal in terms of losses. And this is really big for setting up a revenue stream. Now, if you're also trying to just maximize your gold because you're on a brand new character, it's important to play the market. You can simply make money just by buying anything here and then upselling it. That's it. So think of any item. Personally, doing things like pigments is low investment, and then when people do buy them, or if you turn them into dyes because you should have max cooking, this is going to get you a lot of money. So for instance, I can buy a brown pigment for this much on a buy order, and clearly people are selling them because nobody puts it up just for 92, and then you can sell them and flip them for this much. This goes for any item. So again, revenue streams are important so you can start generating some coins so that you can do other things and then continue to snowball your money. So that's the only other important thing to do at 60. This was a more informative video. I hope I gave you all the information you need, but honestly, getting a character to 600 expertise at 60 is really not that hard. You're going to focus on getting a revenue stream through your trade skills, start bumping up your expertise, and then it's simply just the grind of, okay, I'm going to run some expeditions. Again, I'm pretty much like 550 to 560 on all my armor pieces. I've ran 1 gen, done 2 places for chest runs, not full loops, and done 2 days worth of orbs. It's easy peasy. Just do it gradually. You don't have to just completely dive into it nonstop, and you'll really enjoy it. And it's very beneficial to have a second character for wars, for practice, and just for some extra fun. If this is also somebody who's starting a fresh start character, this is another great video just to help you get back to the point where you can start diving into endgame content. So as always, I appreciate it. I hope this helps. Drop some comments down below to help some other new players or maybe somebody else who's trying to get an alt up. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you to every single one of you beautiful people for being you. Peace.